Hello and welcome. My name is Sidick Bakayoko. I'm the founder and CEO of Paradise Game, a company that was created with the idea that it was possible to entertain, educate, and empower the youth in Africa using video games. And so let me first start off by telling you a little bit about some of the things that we are currently doing and some of the projects that we've started. There's quite a bunch of things that we started doing in the video game industry in Africa. The first one was the events. We started off with the crazy idea of building the biggest gaming event, gaming festival in Africa. One, because we wanted the general public to have an opportunity to view the video game industry in a different way. Two, we wanted to make sure that we created a wave. We created something that would push many other industry players, many other event organizers, many other governments, or any other entity to realize that there was potential in the video game industry and start replicating some of the things that we've done. So we created what we call Fissure, and Fissure has different parts. The first part is really, bringing industry players together, giving them an opportunity to speak and interact and connect, and also have the best players from the continent come in and play at a competitive level. 2 years ago, we had people coming from 15 different countries playing on some of the best games, and we got industry support from some of the top brands and some of the top names that you can call in the video game development industry. The second part that we started doing was around gaming and e-learning centers, because we felt like it's great to bring people in for an event for 2-3 days, but beyond that, you have 360 plus days where you need to find a way to maintain the relationship with them. You need to find a way to continue pushing them the values around video games and helping them build themselves as either a player or as the game developer. So we felt like it was important for us to build some huge gaming centers where we could drive traffic on a regular basis, and where this traffic could one, discover some of the new games, two, interact and connect with other players, and three, be able to learn from it, and that's where the e-learning part comes into play. We felt that this environment that we're creating was going to be a heaven for people who already love video game. And by bringing them to that center, we had a unique opportunity. That opportunity was, yes, they're coming in to play, but once they're here, you could introduce them to other topics or other subjects, for example, introduction to coding, introduction to artificial intelligence, to robotics, etc. So I'll develop a little bit more later on, and I want to talk about the kind of impact that gaming can have on the continent. The third aspect was we started working on a TV show, because video game everywhere in the world is seen is not not necessarily seen as something that's positive. So it's very important to to talk to people, explain to them the ins and outs around the industry, explain to them the potential, show them what's currently happening on the continent and elsewhere. And that TV show gave us a unique opportunity to be able to do that on a weekly basis, show the events, show the players, show the people, show the games that were developed on the continent. And that had a great impact, especially in Cote d'Ivoire, where it helped kind of like build a little bit of the industry, because people could see and could relate and could understand what was happening elsewhere. The fourth part that we worked on was around helping and supporting game developers. There's different and organizations that are doing great things on the continent. So the angle that we took was to help and bring some of those game developers or some of those game studios that are very creative and that are doing interesting things on the continent, bring them with us at international events. So we did that for Gamescom. We did that at Paris Games Week. Paris Games Week, one year we had about 100 square meters. So we had more than 15 studios coming in from South Africa, Kenya. It was just an amazing event. We had people from Tunisia, and it was just great because it was a way for us to tell the world that, okay, there is potential in the video game industry in Africa. There is talents on the continent. It is possible to start and create synergies, create bridges so that we can start doing business with people on the continent and people who are, working in the video game industry at an international level. The last part of the things that we currently do are, I would say services. There's a bunch of ideas and projects and things that we're currently working on. And, one of the latest ones that we just advertised was the fact that, we partnered with Visa and a major bank in Africa called UBA to launch a Visa debit card. The idea behind that is, how do you monetize game? Yes, there's several routes, several avenues around mobile money and other things that are starting to pick up. But we felt currently, cards are still a major part of the industry. Mobile game are starting to pick up. How can we bridge that gap? Maybe we should introduce a gaming card that opens up a whole universe. When you come, you have the Visa card. You can play for within our gaming centers at a cheaper rates. You can get access to games that you want to buy, etc. I mean, so it's like a whole universe created around the idea that, okay, video game players and developers in Africa need something that's specific to them, and I believe it's one of the first initiatives of that sort when talking about debit cards dedicated to gamers on the continent. And all of those are just things that we currently doing on a daily basis. We have 60 plus staff, and on a daily basis we try and make sure that we can help add a small contribution to the development of the video game ecosystem and industry. And we're very happy because there's a lot of other industry players in Kenya, in South Africa, in Cameroon, in Ghana, in Nigeria, and all of us have the same idea. We need to make sure that our industry grows on a daily basis, because if we grow the pie, then there'll be more for everyone to share. In terms of a company, what you're trying to do on a daily basis is make sure you have impact. And for us, that's a major element in our development. And really, the idea is, how can we entertain and educate and empower those youth on the continent? And we really have a vision, an idea that, within the next 5 to 10 years, we really want to be able to touch about 200 million people on the continent, because video game has this power of being borderless and making a huge contribution to the way populations interconnect, exchange, and share. Africa has a lot of history, a lot of things to share. So it'll be very interesting to see how what the future holds for us as an industry and how things evolve. And I think coming down to the subject of on how the video game industry can help and can contribute, to sustainable development. I think there's so many different ways. I'll try and pick a couple of those. I spent a lot of time explaining what we do as a company, because I think out of them there's a bunch of things that can come out of it. One is we said we wanted to entertain. When we talk about entertainment, you talk about health, you talking about well-being, you talk about creating an environment where people are comfortable, where people are happy. You give an opportunity to a parent and the children to have fun together. So that creates a better life for themselves. They're happier, and it gives them more strength when Monday morning comes in, for them to go and actually work hard in school or work hard at their job, because it created a stronger bond between the two family members. So that's definitely one of the things that video game can do. Whether you look at it from a standpoint where, for example, we have a gaming center or gaming facility where you drive people to come to that center and have fun. When you look at people who are sitting at their house but who have a console or who have a PC to play, and allowing friends to play together or family to play together, that creates a sense of a well-being, and that entertainment factor is important, especially in a stressful world that we live in. There's a lot of stress around schools, around work, and a lot of time, energy, and a lot of other factors. So finding out that small time when you're playing your game and you're enjoying yourself, that's good, because it helps you get back up and continue the drive. The second thing I believe is the education aspect. When you talk about video game industry, I think we talk about more than 40 different types of jobs that exist in the industry. So which means that somebody who is involved in creating a game, or somebody who is involved in services, or somebody who's, doing something related to, video game, is going to have to he's going to have to learn something. So which means that, for people who are today in the university, or who are, looking at what they're going to do next in their career, so that provides an opportunity. And that's, when looking broadly at, what's behind it, it's education. Before you can get that opportunity, you need to be trained in that sector. You need to learn how to do production. You need to learn how to create, characters. You need to learn how to program. And those are things that are behind the scenes, yes, but that are important when you talk about, the building, an industry such as the video game sector. And I think, related to that is, of course, you need the education to be able to get the job. But once you get the job, in terms of sustainable, development goals, you can get a decent work because of your involvement in video games, or because, you're working in a video game, field. And I believe that's, that's something that's important as well, the idea that we can create jobs thanks to that industry. The other thing that I believe is important as well when discussing, sustainable development, is economic growth. Of course, when you talk about an industry that's worth about 150 billion, and that's, probably going to grow to 200 billion in the next couple of years, you're talking about value creation. You're talking about, different countries, different companies, different individuals that are going to build wealth because they are creating games, or because they are selling games, or because they are promoting games. So it's like it's an entire ecosystem. So every part of the ecosystem benefits from the fact that video games are being sold more than movies, or more than the music industry. So I think that's an important point. And looking at our contribution as players, our contribution as industry players, I think it's important to look as well as at how what's governments and what people can do in terms of of supporting and helping for those industries to grow. And I think there's a couple of things that comes into into my mind. I think number one that I can say when talking about governments and their support is definitely laws and regulations, because if you want to have a healthy ecosystem, things need to be clear. The different entities need to know exactly what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do. I think that's an important point. Number two would definitely be funding. When talking about grants or other ways or other mechanism that could be put in place. If you have a small studio that needs to grow, of course they have the great ideas, they have great talents, they have ambition, but if they're lacking funding, it will be difficult for them to reach a certain level. And number three that I can see are, for example, tax cuts. Tax cuts can definitely help. You have a small business, you're trying to grow revenues. It's very difficult if you have a lot of taxes to pay. Promotion and also support. For example, in a couple of countries, I remember a couple of years ago, the South African studios, had support from their government to be able to travel to go to Gamescom because they want to attend the conference, they want to present their work. So that's great because one, you're showing that your country has talents and has an industry that's growing. Two, you're allowing your entrepreneurs to show their work. And you're giving the opportunity to those studios to be able to connect with potential investors, to connect with potential partners, and that's the kind of support that governments can do. And I believe it's very important. And in the next couple of years, a lot of governments are going to have to look at that. I know, on the African continent, that's definitely a big question. What kind of support can the cultural and creative industries receive to be able to get to the level where where we want and where we need to be? So I know it's really a pleasure for me, to share a few of those things with with everyone. We're very lucky on the continent because we have a very dynamic youth. We have people who are eager to showcase their heritage, their cultural heritage, to showcase their talents, and to prove that it is possible to be on the continent and to do great things and eventually attack international markets. And at the same time, it's important to show as well that the local market is important, and to, to drive international attention towards the local market, so that we can, it could be going in both ways. So I mean, I was really happy to participate in the event. Congratulations, Joanna. I know, thanks for all the hard work that you're doing, and thanks to everyone that's currently active in the ecosystem, gaming and all the other tech industries. I think we as people have a great contribution to make, one for our continent, two for the world. And I think, small steps will get us there. Walking, alone, it's probably faster, but it's important for us to work together. I think, it may take a bit longer, but we'll get there together, and we'll be stronger together. So thanks again to everyone. It was really a pleasure for me to participate. Take care, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Cheers.